Good morning and welcome back to your favorite variety news show, giving you the latest, in our opinion, greatest news for your eardrums. I'm one of your hosts, Vince Vibes, now giving you Football Focus.
Dustin, still with Drama Digest.
Anthony with Showbiz Spotlight.
And Steven with, as the game guru.
Oh, good job, Steven. So, of course, if y'all listened to our show last semester, we're now at a new time. So this is now our new time, Thursday, 11 to noon every day.
Yep.
Compared to the Tuesday, 10 to 11. So hopefully a little better for y'all's schedules. And also, as y'all know, Steven, who was once Football Focus, has now transitioned into the Game Guru. Look at that man right there.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a Game Guru.
Congratulations on your transition, Steven.
Yeah, congratulations on the transition to Game Guru, and I will be taking over Football Focus as a result. Daily Wrap is going away for a little bit as of right now. If there's no juicy off-season news, then I'll switch back to Daily Wrap or under a new name. But more with that later. First of all, how has y'all's breaks been? It's been like 2 months since we've since we've done a show.
You know, it feels like 2 years.
It feels like a
feels like 2
long
years
time.
already.
That's what happens when I don't know, time just goes
Hey,
by.
time flies.
We gotta shake off the rust a little bit.
Well,
Yeah, we got to.
you know, those winter breaks here at school, they're crazy. You know, you go from being really busy to all of a sudden you got
Nothing
really
better to do.
nothing to do.
It's the longest break we get, right? Between
I sure hope so.
Yeah, spring break isn't the next one.
yeah, but that's only like a week, maybe less.
I don't know. I have no idea at this point.
And there's no summer.
But thank you, boys. It's an honor meeting you guys once again. And let's see how this semester goes, right?
Yeah.
It could only get better, right?
It can only get better.
Facts.
So on top of that, we have another update. Question of the week is going away. We will no longer be doing that as a segment at the end of our show. We have come into the issue too many times where we run out of time on our lovely show and cannot produce your lovely answers on our air because a lot of you like to write really long things. Julian
So
and
shout out to Sarah.
Sarah, his ex-wife.
Somewhere.
He's out there somewhere.
He's out there
and if you're
somewhere.
listening to this right now, please don't. It's okay. Just move on.
Just move on, brother. If she doesn't want you, it is
Actually,
what it is.
I was just joking. Please listen to our show. We need the viewership. We'll take any viewer we can get. We love you, Julian and his ex-wife Sarah. And yeah. So going with that, question of the week is now going away. So it's a new era. We're only sticking to the 4 segments, focusing on the news. And I'm excited for the future.
You know, I think our viewers or our listeners can look forward to a lot more focused segments now without having to scramble around in that last 5 or so minutes and really get the news and information that's pertinent to their lives that they tune in here for every week.
Very true. I agree. And the news that we have this week is pretty good, I feel. I feel like everyone here is strapped and ready to go for an amazing segment.
I'm ready for this.
Oh, yeah, the Game Guru's ready. You hear it in his voice. His mean... He's a mean guru machine. Game Guru, that is. So, to go on that, highlight some of the stuff you're talking about.
We're gonna talk about a bit of the Game Awards, at least two categories. At least we're gonna talk about the Switch 2 that was announced. Of course, not much information of it, at least. So, but more to come.
More to come. Okay. Football Focus. We're kind of focusing on just the recap of where we are now, how we got to the Super Bowl matchup that we have. Go Birds! Woo! Yeah,
I
you
blew that
know.
mic out.
Yes, you did, and that's
Yes, you
okay because fly, Eagles, fly. I will die for my pride, and that is true. Also,
Is that a Mufasa reference?
I don't know.
That's more an
Maybe it
Eagle
is the
reference, but all right
Lion
then.
King. And that's not Mufasa.
Like a pride of lions.
Oh yeah, there
He
you go.
did die for them, I think, at the second one. Or the first one. But which one was it,
It's
Steven?
the circle
up
of
to date.
I'm
life.
not saying nothing. I don't know where that's from.
Now
don't-
Steven's denying it.
He's acting
I don't know where's that
This
from.
semester, he's now just actively denying.
He's a
it.
Lion King denier. I don't get it.
I don't know, but oh man, so we got a great show for you on Football Focus, and then we're talking about the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks and how he betrayed the Bucks and went and signed as the head coach of the of the Jacksonville Jaguars, also in Florida. But more on that later. What about y'all?
I'll
What do
go.
y'all-
I'm just gonna talk about movie releases coming out this year. I feel like starting the year is gonna be real slow for kind of movie TV news. A lot of the heavy hitters come in the summer. So I'm just gonna talk about some of the stuff that's gonna come out this year. I know we're really excited about the Minecraft movie. That comes out in April.
We've been talking about that since the
yeah.
pilot, I think.
Since the very first trailer, yeah.
And a few other ones here is another Superman movie's coming out. Another Jurassic World's coming out.
Oh, that's probably not
Another
going to
one?
be very good.
Captain America: Brave New World's coming out.
Yep.
That one I cannot wait to see. Actually.
Oh,
Few other
okay.
New A24 movie coming out this year, too.
Probably.
A lot.
That's definitely one of those.
It's definitely one of those. they make at least 6 a year.
Yeah. They're usually good.
They are usually good. But what about you? Dustin, what do we got?
We got some courtroom drama today,
Dun, dun,
the best
dun.
kind. Famously, Alec Baldwin, he got into a little bit of trouble. And now, he's fighting back, and we're going to dig into it. And I'll get you guys' takes on, whether he's justified in what he's doing and how you guys think it's going to go. And I'll give my take about it as well.
Nice.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent.
That's the
until
American
proven
way.
Guilty. That is the American way, and I can't wait to hear more about that story now because, I know a lot about the Alec Baldwin case and what happened there, and so there's a lot to unpack, and
I have a little bit of a personal connection to the case, too, as I'll get into when we get there. Nothing
Okay.
serious, but, it's a little
You
bit.
also know I like Baldwin.
I wouldn't go that far.
he is a secret Baldwin. We have a Baldwin in the room.
I am.
Oh my
I'm,
goodness.
I'm one of the nephews.
Dun dun dun. But before we go into our first segment of Football Focus, it's the radio is felt empty without us, and here's without me, by Eminem. And we're back, and it feels so empty without us, doesn't it? And we're so glad to be back. And it started off with Football Focus.
Yes, sir.
I had to do it, since Steven, if you were a listener of our show, used to scream it out.
Hey, I reenacted the Rock's intro. Just put
Yeah, if you
football.
But so to go into that, we're gonna recap everything that has happened to get to the Super Bowl matchup of the Eagles versus the Chiefs. The matchup that nobody wanted to see. That we are.
Let's be honest. That's kind of the truth. I was praying that at least it'll be Bills or someone else, or
Yeah.
Eagles versus the Bills. That's actually I was praying the most. I
No.
got tired of freaking.
You say
Chiefs.
no?
You said no?
No, I would have liked to see the Battle of the Birds, Eagles versus the Ravens.
Oh yeah, dude.
That was my number one matchup.
Actually, that would've been a good
People
one.
compare those teams a lot too. That would have been fun.
There would have been a fun matchup, but unfortunately, we got the rematch from 2 years ago.
Yep.
Next week, we're gonna go more into the tale of the tape of we're gonna go about each team's their weaknesses, their strengths, and from a genuine, non-biased perspective, what team has a better outcome of winning next week. But this week, we're gonna be a little biased. To be honest, two Phillies fans.
Picks involved.
Picks are involved, On Prize Picks, if you send out your code to somebody,
Another one in the direction
If you
so
reach out to
quick.
us on
No, wait.
Discord, get our code,
Let me-
you'll get some free
let me
money.
tell y'all this story, y'all, before I get into it. If you send out your code, you get $50, and then me gets $25, right, as a referral. So I had my grandma sign up, and I gave her $10 to put in the app.
Older people love gambling, so that's a pretty good
There
idea.
you go. I mean, she's not really used to the gambling, but I had her picks for her.
Better than a
I won.
Oh, you made picks for that's mean, bro. Why are you just stealing your grandma's money? Your picks aren't gonna hit.
What? Whoa!
Dang!
My
Ooh.
picks are gonna hit one day, all right?
One day.
The 6 super mega picks for $800 is gonna hit one day, and when it does,
Well, hopefully it does.
no, I've actually been playing more conservative. I've been winning more money than I've been losing lately. So,
Ooh. You found a strap.
Suddenly he starts winning and his picks stop showing up in the group chat.
I know. I know, it's the secret in the eye of the
It's just like the
tiger.
wealthy.
But I think that was the issue. I think I was too cocky about my picks, and then they would backfire.
Those 6-leggers are treacherous.
Oh yeah, but they, half the time I win my money back on those. But
The worst part is when you lose the first one. You go, the fun's over. I don't care if the other 5 hit because I already lost the parlay.
I know, it's sad. But Eagles, Chiefs are the matchup. Just to kind of quickly recap how we got there. The Vikings got dominated round 1 to the Rams. The Bucks lost a close game to Washington. The Eagles beat the Packers on the NFC side. And then on the AFC side, Ravens beat the Steelers. Bills dominated the Broncos. And then Texans
The
dominated
Broncos were in the playoffs.
dominated the Chargers, right. So then the Texans lost horribly to the Chiefs, of course. And the Ravens
You upset about that?
lost
No,
a
I
close one
expected
to
it.
the
No, I
Bills.
expected it.
And then we all know what happened with the Bills and the
Yep.
Chiefs. That was... I agree. I would have rather seen Bills.
Anyone
Eagles.
else?
Everyone else
would've
in the
seen
world.
someone else than the Chiefs.
The only thing stopping the three-peat are the Eagles.
Are the Eagles.
I'll be devil's advocate here. I think it's more interesting having the Chiefs in there to possibly get the 3-peat than just somebody else to maybe
Well-
win one. Because somebody's going to win every year, but nobody's ever won 3. I think that's cool.
No, that and in fair honesty, that's true in a way. But
Why's gotta be the Chiefs?
Okay,
Well,
listen.
because then we have to wait another at least 3 years.
So,
It could have been a different team. A different team could have been the three-peat.
in the last...
Not the Chiefs.
In the last 20 years, I swear, I've seen Brady and I've seen Mahomes in a Super Bowl consistently.
Yeah.
I would just like some, non-consistency.
There's
I want-
30 other teams out
There's
there.
30 other teams.
Like, come on.
I would prefer to see Lamar in the Super
I
Bowl.
would have loved to see Lamar in the Super Bowl.
I'm sure he would love to see himself in the Super Bowl too.
He would have loved to see
Josh
himself.
Allen, anyone in general.
Anyone. But, the Eagles know the matchup they have upcoming to them. And how the Eagles got there. Washington blew out Detroit, which was a shootout at first, but it very quickly became Jared Goff's game to lose. Detroit now has to climb back up the mountain, losing both of their coordinators to head coach jobs. Ben Johnson's now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And your good pal Aaron Glenn is now the New York Jets head coach, which that always seems to work out.
All right.
Or pal?
Well, I don't know.
Who is that man?
Who is he?
What are you talking
He used to play. He used to play for the Jets, so there's a connection
I think we
there.
all hate the Jets, right?
Well, we all hate
Real
the
Jets
Jets.
haters?
I don't know if there's
I
Jets
think, what
haters.
about
You can't
Dallas
kick a
Cowboys?
person while they're down. Well, we all hate the
always-
Cowboys though. Dallas
Absolutely.
sucks. And then Eagles blew out Washington to get to the Super Bowl, obviously, and that was a Really good game to watch. Not at first. At first, it got really close.
Would you argue that a close game is better than watching a blowout?
I think if you're watching two teams that you are unaffiliated with, yes. If you're watching your home team, I think you should always want to see them absolutely dominate.
No, it's really satisfying.
It's a satisfying feeling. And it's going to be a satisfying feeling when Saquon Barkley smiles as he holds up the Lombardi Trophy.
And the reflection shines on your bald head.
My head isn't. Oh yeah. Actually, yes, it is. Because if y'all don't know, if you can follow me at Vince Vibes, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, me and my barber made a deal that I will have my head shaved.
Oh wow!
We might have a Super Bowl win in the Vince Baldiani era.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Garibaldi era.
to signify exactly. Listen, if y'all don't know, since Nick Sirianni shaved his head, he has been undefeated except for one loss. All right, 15-1. So, in honor, if he wins the Super Bowl, in honor of Nick Sirianni's triumphant, style choice to shave his head, I will be shaving my hair. If the Eagles lose, at least I get to keep my hair, I guess. But
like a reverse Samson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The power is with the shaved head. So
that took me a second.
Bad. As soon as Walt shaved, he got real tough.
He did get real tough. Jesse, but let him cook and let the Eagles cook. But before we move on to the next segment, I did want to highlight a quick story in all of this featuring the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Liam Cohen, ex-offensive coordinator now, took the head coach job over at Jacksonville Jaguars. But what's the big deal here? So Jacksonville originally was trying to sign Liam Cohen, but he backed out of the deal and signed with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, he didn't sign. He made a verbal agreement to become the highest paid offensive coordinator, which is about $5 to $6 million. It was going to come out to a year. Jacksonville, seeing that, decides to make a big play. They fire their GM, and they're like, hey, Liam, come back. We want you. And he's like, okay. He flies to Jacksonville and interviews with them all day as the Buccaneers are trying to reach him. The Buccaneers are blowing up his phone. The GM is calling him. The head coach is calling him. The owner even calls him. Eventually, he picks up the head coach's call at 5 p.m. and says, hey, I'm in the hospital with my sick son right now. I cannot be on the phone. Sorry, bye.
Write school a doctor's note for me, Dad.
And a few hours later, he signs with Duval. And Liam Cohen is now your head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars for a $12 million a year deal for 5 years.
I gotta be honest, I would have taken that bag too. That's way more money.
That is.
You're not gonna get any championships though over there in Jacksonville.
You're not gonna get any. Well, the plan is, how do you fix Trevor Lawrence? You know what I mean? Trevor Lawrence was the generational talent coming out of Clemson and coming out of college. He only lost like 2 games in his entire high school and college career, and he walked into the Jacksonville Jaguars with Urban Meyer. That did not go well, if anyone knows the history. And then Doug Peterson comes in. His doesn't work out too well. Doug Peterson just got fired, and now Liam Cohen is going to try to issue a new culture, a new change. But it's kind of hard to take anyone seriously when you have that kind of, a stain on your career now as somebody you can't trust. Because if it doesn't work out in Jacksonville, how are teams going to hire him knowing that he's a show of character? I mean, that was a real show of character.
But I noticed he was endorsed by some pretty big celebrities. The Costco guys came out and congratulated him. But notably, Rizzler was absent, and so
Oh.
I'm actually going to abstain having a real opinion until Riz weighs in on this.
Right, until the Rizzler says if he likes it or not. I don't know if I can.
So once again, the Rizzler proved himself a man of honor. He wasn't going to sell himself out with the other Costco guys and celebrate this traitor. So
Right.
I think his silence speaks volumes.
That is true. And I think Duval has got an interesting case ahead of them. Have you seen any clips of Liam Cohen? He has negative aura. So not a good look to start off this whole era. And hopefully the Buccaneers find their new offensive coordinator soon.
Well, I just got a notification from them of a video that search of an offense coordinator.
So they're searching.
Yeah.
Can you apply like on Indeed?
You should throw your hat in the ring, Steven.
Yeah.
Maybe I know there's an opening on Indeed.com, so
Can you imagine?
anyone can put
Being
their
so
name on
desperate
Indeed.
that is the Tyson family and the Bucks are that desperate to find someone.
I wouldn't.
You never know.
I wouldn't put it past them.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and that's something that's some knowledge you can use going forward into your new
Right.
career as head coach.
Exactly.
You just
but
came up with
the
that on the
shots.
I did.
Wow.
But I've been learning Mandarin lately, as I mentioned, and now I've got a bunch of little Confucius bits of wisdom.
There you go. And with that, you miss every shot you don't take. That's why the Eagles took every shot. They're going to the Super Bowl, and this is also Motown Philly by Boyz II Men. With what, Steven?
Gaming Guru.
Oh, Gaming Guru.
Of course,
Hosted by who?
Steven Quadrado.
The Game
Whoa,
Guru.
the one and only.
This is a
All right.
whole new segment that we're getting into.
And yes, it is. But before we get started, boys, where do these people need to hear us?
I don't know.
Well, that's a good question.
You
Steven.
tell us,
Where?
Steven.
ACCHawkRadio.primo stream. Don't use that .com. Throw it away. Give it to someone. Whack Dustin if you guys want to. I don't know.
Did you just put a hit on it?
I don't know.
.com/programs, I've actually learned it works.
Is that
Programs?
different?
Yes, if you put /programs, it actually shows you a list of every single show on HCC Hawk Radio, and you can click ours, the Weekly Roundup.
Click ours. Yeah, we got a lot of good shows coming up this year, though. So click around while you're on there. Listen to
Yes,
some other
sir.
shows too, but always listen to ours first.
Yeah,
Of course.
of
It's
course.
ours.
Start with ours and end with ours.
Start with ours, end with ours.
And then perhaps watch, see, or hear others.
Wake up with our voice, sleep with our voice, eat with our voice.
I recommend playing the Weekly Roundup while you're sleeping. It
Right.
really lets you absorb our takes. And you
Yes.
wake up a lot more enlightened.
Wake up, go Brewers!
Your head becomes 2 sizes too big, like the Grinch in his heart after the Whoville.
We got Steve.
All right. As I said, let's talk as the Game Guru. I'm gonna talk about something kind of unexpected for a lot of people that I feel like is a reenactment of a previous Game Awards. If you don't know, the Game Awards just recently happened long ago.
Recently happened long ago.
I heard about the real Game Awards.
Oh my goodness.
All right. when I found out about that, I'm like, ain't no way. But we got, of course, 2 categories that kind of surprised me in a way. At least one of them.
Go ahead.
We got Game of the Year and Best Ongoing Game.
Right.
I want to start with the Best Ongoing Game. And
Fortnite, right?
It's gotta be Fortnite.
It's gotta be
It gets better
Fortnite.
every year.
All right.
They had
It's the
Snoop
best-
Dogg in
They
it.
had Snoop Dogg.
They got
Alright.
Godzilla.
The nominees for at least the Best
That's
Ongoing Game was Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy, the new one, Fortnite, and Helldivers. At least by you guys.
Fortnite,
Okay, you said Fortnite?
1,000% Fortnite votes.
The Destiny 2.
Anthony, you didn't want to be different.
It's almost like I know the answer.
I like spending $400 for a free game.
Alright. Sadly,
Right.
sadly, all y'all are wrong. Helldivers won Best Ongoing Game, and I kind of understand why, because majority of the updates are mainly live every single time.
So I played Helldivers 2 in the height of its, play. Like, I was in the liberation fighting against the bugs.
You're in the trenches.
I was in the trenches saving democracy.
For democracy.
For democracy. If y'all don't know, it's a player versus enemy game where you team up with your friends or randoms and kill either bugs or robots. Kind of like Starship Troopers, if you've ever seen that movie, classic movie.
They actually made a game of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called Helldivers.
Yeah, it's called Helldivers
too.
shooter
version of that.
I know.
Real-time strategy game that just came out too.
Ooh, I did not
So, but it's basically that kind of concept. You're saving democracy by killing these, hordes of enemies.
Yeah, hordes of enemies, liberating planets from those enemies and other stuff. But the additional of that is controlled actually by an actual person. I don't know if you two knew. I know by Vince Naughty, he knows. There's a guy that actually controls the enemies. Like, easy for a mission that's considered easy can become nightmare fuel immediately.
Like just a player or like a dev?
No, like a dev. Like,
so there's a dev that controls the entire map and can so at any time I want this entire planet to be swarmed and invaded like this.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so then
How does that work? How many games go on at a time?
It's basically there's a certain amount of liberation points that you have to get to on a planet. You have to complete quests, and it sends the points up to the
missions, side quests, and whatever.
And so it's kind of based on how everyone does on that planet at any given time.
Yeah.
So it's really just random, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can either go that the planet is fully liberated, or out of nowhere, just the percentage just goes down because the guy made it difficult out of nowhere.
Yes,
The concurrent players are down. Let's crank this up.
Right. Exactly, and that's what I was saying. I played, consistently for about a month, but I got bored really fast, and I fell off.
So is it Helldivers 2 or just Helldivers the franchise?
Oh, Helldivers 2, technically speaking, but at least when I looked at the category, it was Helldivers. So apparently, okay, Helldivers the franchise. At least that's what I was thinking. But no, it was Helldivers.
I think I never even heard of the first one. I've only heard of 2.
I don't know.
One, I saw a bit of one. One, it was
how old is 1? Is that a PC exclusive one?
No.
1 is a PSP game.
Wow, that explains it. Jesus, a
that
PSP game.
My brain was out of nowhere. What was it based on? I thought it was.
A third, kind of like Diablo, where you're kind of set up above the player and shooting the enemies.
Wow, what an upgrade!
It was pretty much a whole different game.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the last category of the Game Awards. Well, Game of the Year.
There was more categories, but the ones we're highlighting.
Yes, I'm highlighting these two
important ones.
That at least that caught me off guard.
Go ahead.
Game of the Year, we got Astrobot, Balatro. I don't know that name though. Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy Rebirth, and Metaphor. Refund.
You never heard of Metaphor?
I'm not even joking. That's actually the name.
I've
telling the truth, I was expecting it would be Black Myth Wukong.
No.
I expected it would have been Black Myth Wukong was gonna win this one because the game was incredible.
I'm expecting.
I talked about you. I talked with you about this before. I feel like there was an initial hype for the game, and then it quickly died out.
Yeah.
For what's it called?
Black Myth Wukong.
Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
Because it was a dark. People kept comparing it to Dark Souls.
Well, that's how it was in a way, because it technically was a Souls-like game. That's how Black Myth Wukong was. It was a Souls-like game. It was true. And also Elden Ring, and that's a DLC.
I haven't played it though.
That's a DLC we're talking that made it to Game of the Year. Surprisingly,
DLC's never gonna win Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's any DLC to win Game of the Year, it's Elden Ring.
That's true.
I thought it was going to be Elden Ring as well, like the DLC. But no. Nor Final Fantasy. I also expected Final Fantasy. Surprisingly, it was Astrobot that won Game of the Year.
The PlayStation exclusive Astrobot.
I was about to say, that's what I was going to say. The PlayStation
kid platformer Astrobot.
Well, kids are always the target demographic. I mean, that's where the money is, unfortunately.
Well, you know what I mean. It's like Mario,
Yeah.
True. Actually, speaking of Mario.
Oh my God.
No.
Mario movie.
I
movie,
wish.
I like
Mario 2.
We need a Luigi movie now.
But speaking of Mario, Nintendo announced the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, it was announced in January 16, 2025. That's technically, we all know that happened just recently.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there's not really much more information. It wasn't shown much in the trailer of it. Just show what might be the new features instead of being a normal Switch. Dustin, you use a Nintendo Switch.
I am a Switch owner, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Wow, we have a Switch owner in the chat.
Instead of being the normal click on like this, like go up and down like
Those
that.
things will get loose too. I'll be playing a game and one will come off.
It's more, it looks like more, at least to the trailer, more magnetic and more to the side. I feel like that's
That feels even looser.
that also I feel like a kid is gonna accidentally gonna break that so quickly. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is a little bit more bigger, at least what's shown in the trailer. More information is gonna be more Nintendo Direct. Right. And speaking of also bit to Mario again, a new Mario Kart was announced on that trailer, and not only with new maps, but perhaps new vehicles, but with an additional bit of redesigns of some of the characters. The most one, at least what people noticed right at the gate, was Donkey Kong, apparently. I'm not even joking. If you can look up new Donkey Kong design, it was funny, but...
I feel like redesigns happen all the time.
Well, Mario Wonder did have a redesign of Mario and voice actor at the same time. It's not the same voice actor it was.
Oh, they got Charlie Day? No, wait, that's Luigi.
I wish that would be more funnier. That would be more funny. But yeah, that's mainly...
It's a Mario.
It's a Mario!
He just blew out my eardrums and the speakers. But it's okay.
You're excited, Stu.
But yeah, I am excited about the Switch 2 because the Nintendo Switch didn't really have much stuff. Of course, it was the first time they ever combined both a handheld and a console at the same time. And then we got the Switch Lite that was more just a regular handheld than just a regular combination. But the Switch 2 looks a little bit more interesting. So, and hopefully there'll be more information in Nintendo Direct. So, yep.
Isn't Microsoft talking about doing a handheld too?
I think they already did. I think
Are they the only ones that haven't done it? Because
yes.
you have the Steam Deck.
You got the
and then
PS
you have
Vita.
The PS Portal.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like
Microsoft does have one that's kind of like it for the Xbox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's like cloud streaming. And
Oh, that's not
It
good.
wasn't that good. All you gotta do grab your phone, slap it in, that's it, and log into your Xbox. I feel like that was kind of like stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think our phones are at a point where we can handle these big console games.
I mean, you could maybe stream a game like that on your home Wi-Fi, but if you're on your home Wi-Fi, what do you need a portable for?
Yeah. But I think that's everything from the Game Guru.
The Game Guru, and the Game Guru has just begun, my friends.
Yes,
but first, before we move on to the next segment, here's Just Begun by Talib Kweli, J Electronica, J Cole, and Mos Def. And we're back. And going into
Drama Digest.
And Drama Digest, what are we going into today?
So, like I talked about before, it's all about Alec Baldwin today. And there's some new developments in the case, but before I get into it, I'm just going to go over what happened. Get everybody up to speed, and we can kind of talk about the situation. So, famously, Alec Baldwin was arrested in Santa Fe, New Mexico back in 2021 when he unfortunately had an accidental firearm discharge on the set of Rust, killing videographer Helena Hutchins.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, 100%. It's a really tragic situation. Now, he was really in a lot of hot water, right? They're saying that he was responsible for a lot of it because not only was he the one holding the gun, but he was also a producer on the movie, which adds a little bit of
extra fire on that engine.
Exactly.
I don't know if I would use fire right now.
Oh God, don't remind me. I had to say it like that.
What?
Remind me.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Because the shots were fired.
Well, I thought we were going to go to the California fire.
Oh,
I thought Sally was going to be that, and I regretted that decision saying that. Like, please don't remind me.
Didn't you watch your neighbor's shed go on fire, too?
Yeah, you filmed it.
We're very fire adjacent radio show.
Someone's a little arsonist.
That's because, the show is fire.
The show is fire.
But there was even prior to the shooting, there was a lot of issues on set. Just a couple of weeks before, several crew members actually walked off the set, citing safety concerns. With one crew member stating there had been 2 accidental weapon discharges and a special effects mess up that set off explosives around the crew in between takes. So a lot of people are saying he was, rushing through this all, a little bit too much, not taking enough safety into consideration. But really what ended up happening, the one that really was found to be responsible was the on-set armorer, Hannah Gutierrez. Now, her dad is actually a big Hollywood armorer, too. I think that was one of her first jobs. And what had happened was some live bullets had been mixed in with the blank bullets. That's ended up getting into the gun.
How does that happen?
I was like, how does that even happen?
Well, that's a very good question, right? And that's kind of what a lot of the case revolves around. Now, it's still actually unclear as to exactly how the bullets had gotten there. They talked with the guy that provided the bullets down in Albuquerque, and he said that, obviously he wasn't mixing them up. And the police were actually able to clear him of any wrongdoing, but he was mentioned in some civil suits about this as well. Speaking of civil suits, Alec Baldwin did have to settle with Hutchins' family for an undisclosed amount of money in relation to the shooting. But what had actually turned out to have happened was Hannah Gutierrez, even though she claimed to the police that there was no reason there would be any live rounds on set or that she would know anything about it, it later came out that she was actually target practicing on set, shooting live rounds with some of the crew members, and then she kind of said that she wasn't involved in that at all, claimed it never happened. So not a good look for her at all.
Nepo baby getting
there's some of that.
exposed.
There's some of that. To be honest though, I feel bad for her too. Honestly, everybody
Yeah,
involved.
I feel bad, but at the end of the day, it was her job to procedure safety, and if there was cases of people shooting live rounds on the set, even if she wasn't involved in the shooting of those rounds, it's her responsibility to take care of.
Did she get
as
charged with
the armor on set? And
That's a good question.
like you said, her dad was a famous armor before her.
She should have known better.
She should have known better.
Yep.
And if you're going to be put in that role because of who you know and not what you know, sometimes it shows.
I agree, and I think we're kind of on the same page here because there's a chain of custody with this thing. It starts with the armor, right? And then second in line is the assistant director is responsible for this stuff too. But honestly, the prosecution up there was trying to put a lot of the responsibility on Alec Baldwin. They said that he had a responsibility to check the weapon and everything before he fired it. That's, to me, one of the things that I want to talk about here because I've worked in the industry. As a matter of fact, this happened on Bonanza Creek Ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico, a place that I actually spent a good deal of time. I shot season 2 of Manhattan up there on WGN America. I spent weeks out there. So I'm really familiar with the place where I was even more, shocked and personally kind of affected by this because I know that place.
Right.
I probably know some of the people that were on set.
That was affected by this.
But, what do you guys think? I think that him being an actor, I think that he doesn't have an obligation to check it because first, he's an actor. They're handing him what's effectively a prop.
Yeah, they're handing that he thought it was a fake gun with fake rounds.
Exactly. Well, they knew it was a real gun, but there shouldn't have been any bullets on set to begin with. And of course,
or just blank or rubber rounds. It's not going to do nothing.
Yeah. No. Exactly. And another thing that I think about that is he's an actor. Like he's not a firearm expert. He probably doesn't. He probably doesn't even own a gun. So how? Even if he opens it, how is he going to know?
Right.
I think that putting the responsibility on him for that, frankly, is wild. And I almost feel like the DA, they're just going after him. They're like, we got a celebrity here. We're going to prove that we hold everybody to the same, accountability.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think they targeted him partially because he's like a known name and face?
I do. I think that was definitely a part of it. Now, there's also kind of some interesting stuff, though, that took place. Like, for example, Baldwin went on ABC and he did an interview where he said, I never pulled the trigger. So that's kind of weird, right? Because he's kind of almost diffusing responsibility.
He never pulled the trigger.
He never pulled the trigger. He just pulled the gun out and cocked the hammer back and let the hammer go, and he says it just went off. Now, the FBI ends up taking possession of this gun, doing a bunch of stress tests on it and everything. They were able to prove that the gun couldn't have gone off without the trigger being pulled, but during the testing, they destroyed the gun before the defense got a chance to examine it. Now, that's, of course, going to be a tentpole of the defense's case, right?
Right.
Basically destroying
That's
evidence.
Yeah, that's destroying evidence.
I was gonna say, I'm
shady.
shocked there's not, just obviously it wouldn't be released to the public, but there's no footage of this happening.
Well, no, they're.
No,
There
no,
should-
I think
there
there
should be
was.
footage 'cause they
I
were
think there
shooting.
was.
They were
No,
shooting when it
there's
happened.
It wasn't
definitely
so. It
footage.
wasn't literally in social media. I think long ago. I don't remember if it was on Instagram or on YouTube.
I'm sure it was on all.
I think it was
Yeah,
all on
I'm
the
sure,
platforms.
it
of
went around.
course,
Probably on
but-
live leaks.
Alright.
For the uncensored version.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Now, Gutierrez actually ended up receiving the maximum sentence allowed for that charge, which is 18 months in prison. I feel like that's valid because somebody did still die and it was due to negligence, so I think that's fair. But, you know, the DA kept coming after Baldwin, and eventually the judge ends up throwing it out. I mean, for a lot of reasons, right? Like we were just talking about mishandling the chain of evidence, all sorts of things. Threw it out of court, but they really were dragging this guy, and they only just ended up throwing it out this past July, I think. So he was really in a lot of upheaval for this for quite some time, and now the story that's breaking right now, Alec has actually decided to sue the prosecutor and the DA and some of the people out there for malicious prosecution. His lawsuit alleges malicious prosecution and also some civil rights violations and all sorts of things. Now, what do you guys think about that? Do you think he has a case here? Because they did end up throwing it out, but they did drag him too.
At least what it sounds like. It sounds like that it was a case, then it's not anymore. At least that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, his suit. What do you guys think? Do you think he has a shot here? It doesn't say how much he's suing for.
I think that if you have enough money and you have enough influence, you can push your way into getting at least something. Because if he can claim that there was defamation, and I'm sure he can point out specific moments that people have said things that weren't true,
Has he gotten
and
work
that could
since
hurt
then?
him, quote unquote.
That's a good question. I don't know what he's been up to.
Exactly. So I feel like he definitely has he could say like, oh, my life was ruined for this amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
I need compensation for the years I missed of work and yada yada yada.
Now, I do have one final point about this that I want to get across before I wrap the segment up.
And wrapping up our show too today, unfortunately.
Go ahead.
Oh, we went over again.
We did go over.
We never learned.
But I just want to ask you guys a question. Rust is actually due to come out here pretty soon. Does anybody know what the plot of Rust is about?
Is he like a cowboy or something?
He is a cowboy. Anybody know any further details?
I know nothing except he's a cowboy.
So he's a cowboy. He's a kind of an older gunslinger, right? That has to go and rescue his teenage grandson from kind of an angry mob because the teenager accidentally shot and killed somebody.
Oh
You gotta
my god.
They don't release the movie.
The irony.
Don't release
the
that
movie.
movie.
Did get released.
It's coming out. I'm
It's
gonna
coming
watch
out.
it. Hopefully, maybe we can do a review of it on here or something when it does come
there
out.
you go. And wow.
But that's all I had for today. But if there's any new updates in this, we'll get right into it. And I got some courtroom drama coming up next week too.
What a way to end the show.
Diddy this
Yep.
week. Oh my goodness, no Diddy to start
But
the year
we
off.
got Drake next week, and that's basically the same thing.
Oh, and I got 2 games I want to talk about.
Alright.
So.
And we'll actually focus on Anthony's segment next.
I doubt it.
Unfortunately, we did run out of time this week again to do Showbiz Spotlight. But if you want to highlight some movies that you're excited to see in this upcoming spring semester, we have like a minute or two that we can run through some things real quick.
No.
Oh,
No, I'm good.
That was his
that was
decision.
very disappointing.
I mentioned some at the top. I'm just going to mention the same ones again.
He was going to mention the same ones. You know what? I'm excited to see the Superman movie. I'm excited to see James Gunn's new universe. He just created the TV show Creature Commandos on Max.
Oh, that show was
It's really good. It's only 7 episodes. I would check it out. It feels just like the new Suicide Squad movie, not the bad one, but the one with King Shark in it.
I like that one.
So if you liked that one, you'll like
You like the Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. It's basically the same thing, but with like
That means a continuation of that.
It is kind of a continuation, yeah.
I got my eye on Warfare from A24 that's coming out in June. I think that'll be pretty good. It's one long continuous shot it's not actually one long shot, but it's like a real-time movie. So the 2 hours of the movie is the 2 hours that they spend in the plot, as well as about some Navy SEALs getting into some trouble overseas.
Oh, that's good. Like, what's that one movie that had the one continuous fight shot that Christopher Nolan shot? It was Dunkirk, right? Where he has the one continuous shot all throughout the battleground.
That was Dunkirk? That was in like 19... I think I know what you're talking about. It's the one where he's like running?
Yeah, he's running. It's with one continuous shot.
I don't think that was Dunkirk though.
I don't know.
It was a war movie.
It was a war movie, but we'll figure that out, and we'll figure out that, we're back. It's so good to be back.
And we're going to go all out this
We'll
round.
be back next week.